Alright, Shalom. I'm the brother Tasiyat coming back with another video. But before I start off, I would like to give all praises and the highest honor to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Kakadash. I want to give double honor to my elder apostles and teachers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the sincere Akyam across this world, who are spreading his knowledge and truth and sincerity. And Shalom to the few sincere brothers and sisters out there who are also listening, and may the election be for your households. God Shalom. So, today I want to make a video concerning the book of First Esther, and it's a story wherein you find the king that of Media Persia, the king. His name is Ahasuerus. He makes a royal feasts, and he has like his servants and certain people from a high status coming, and he has a beautiful wife. So he commands his wife to come, but she refuses to come. So you can imagine what that does in to a king when he is in how do you say that, a company with all these men with high status, and here it is that his wife disobeys him. So if this reaches throughout all the other females of that kingdom, they're also gonna disobey their husbands. So an example has to be made. So without further ado, let's get into the story, because eventually this queen is just gonna be displaced, man. Because she disobeyed her husband, and then he's gonna find somebody that is even better than her, and maybe even more beautiful. So that's also for us being in this truth. Like, there are a lot of females that might come on your path, and you might think like, wow, she really is one of a kind, is that and the third. But no, man, they are displaceable, man. Or how do you say that? They can be replaced. I don't know if I say the word correct, displaceable. I mean that she can be, taken out of the way, and you receive a new woman, which does obey your command, which does listen to you, which does what you want, and which doesn't give you headache, and which is even more beautiful than your previous wife. So anyway, let's go into the book of Esther, chapter 1. It says, "Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus." This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces. Okay, that in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. So there's a lot of princes, nobles coming to this feast, right? When he shewed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king and Salakia, when he shewed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. Okay, and when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days, in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings, fastened with cords of fine linen, and purple to silver rings, and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon a pavement of red, and blue, and white, and black marble. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold. So they were drinking out of cups that were gold, man. The vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance. So there was enough wine, according to the state of the king. And the drinking was according to the law. None did compel, for so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house, that they should do according to every man's pleasure. And wine, you can't be drinking wine, of course, man. Wine is made to make man glad, like the scripture says, but you have to drink it with measure. Don't be drinking so much wine that you are drunk the whole time. You don't even know what's left and right anymore. You cannot be drinking like that, man. But for Christians, people that say that you cannot be drinking alcohol, wine, why was our Lord Yahushai, who everybody calls Jesus, his real name is Yahushai, why was he making wine out of water? You know, he was drinking wine himself also. Why does he say that, you know, uh, um, he's not gonna drink from this wine anymore until he sits with us in the kingdom, showing you are allowed to drink wine. Anyway, like the book of Sirach says, or Second Ezra, you have to drink it with measure, you know. And the drinking, verse 9. Also, Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the woman in the royal house which belonged to King Ahasuerus. So the second part has the title, Vashti disobeys the king's command to appear before him, right? On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Vistha, Harbona, Bichta, and Abakta, Zetar, and Karkas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to shew the people and the princess her beauty. So that's also not good, man. That the king Ahasuerus wanted to show how beautiful his wife was. That's gonna make people lust after her, which is not good, man. But this was the command of the king. Like he told his chamberlains to bring her queen, to bring his queen. It says, for she was fair to look on, so she was beautiful. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. So she was like, I'm not gonna come, man. So she refused to come. Okay, she disobeyed her king. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. So he was getting fucking angry, man. Like where all his guests are present there. Everybody is looking at him like shit. She's not coming. She disobeyed your commandment. Like what you gonna do now? So he was boiling inside, man. It says, then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew land and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshena, Shetar, Admata, Tarshish, Meres, Marsena, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face. So they saw how the king was looking, man, and he was, looking fucking angry, man. And which sat the first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law? Because she had not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains. So they was like, okay, so what is next? What we gonna do now with the queen? Because she disobeyed the king's commandment, man. Okay, and why is it so? Why is it such an issue? You might ask yourself. Because of her status, she is a queen. So if she does this, and other women find out, that the queen disobeyed the king and she got away with it, how much more do you think that women that are with lower level, so-called lower level men are gonna treat their husband like shit, or let me say they are not gonna honor their husband anymore, because they are gonna be like, wait a minute, if the queen can get away with it, why can't I do it? It says, and Memucan answered before the king and the princess, Vashti the queen had not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. So she didn't only do bad to the king, but to all these other men also. Why? For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women. So all the women are gonna find out what she did, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes. So they are not also gonna be like, "Hey, fuck my husband, man. He's not gonna be ruling over me anymore." It says when it shall be reported. So when the news comes out, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. So people are gonna know, like, hey, did you hear about the king? He commanded his queen to come, but she refused, and he just let her go. You know, do you think that we can also do the same with our husbands? Because I'm sick and tired of this. Okay, it says, likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. So there's gonna be too much chaos if these women also find out what happened. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. So let there, go a royal commandment, all right, that which cannot be changed in, and it's gonna come in different languages even, so that nobody has something, to say like, oh, I did not know, or this, that, and the third, or I did not understand. No, everybody's gonna know this, man. Okay, it says, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. So she was gonna be replaced, man. The queen is gonna be replaced for this deed that she has done. You know? And what does the king say? And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. Okay? So if the women are gonna hear about this, what the king responded, the wives are gonna be subject and stay subject unto their husband, because they're gonna be like, "Hey, man, I don't wanna, be in that situation that my husband is gonna just replace me." You know. Um, so both to great and small, doesn't matter if you're a rich man or if you don't have a lot of money, your wife should still be obeying you. And the saying pleased the king and the princess. And the king did according to the word of Memucan. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language. So, like I said, man, in multiple languages, so that it is clear for everybody, okay, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. So everybody got to know this, man, that the man is the one that is ruling in the house. If a woman nowadays trying to tell you otherwise, she's out of her mind, man. She's out of her place. Maybe she has not learned any better. Maybe she grew up with that mindset. So you just gotta tell her like, nah, it ain't like that, man. There's an order to things, right? I'm the husband, I'm the man, so I'm supposed to be the ruler. So when you go to your job, you're also not gonna be talking to your boss like you are over him and like you are owning the company. Makes no sense. You're gonna get fired. So why would you do it with your husband at home? Makes no sense, man. Anyway, Genesis 3 verse 16. It says, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, because Eve, hearkened unto the serpent, okay, and Adam listened to Eve. It says, Um, in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and die. That's why, of course, when a lot of females give birth to children, it hurts, man. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. That is what it is. The husband is ruling over the female. Okay. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying thou shalt not eat of it, because it was not an actual apple. Okay. It was, like the saying goes, food for thought. It was symbolic for philosophies. And a serpent was not an actual snake. Since when do you have a snake that can talk? He was speaking about a man. Okay, that spirit of Esau, the so-called white man, was the serpent, man. That person. He was coming like he does nowadays also, with his crazy philosophies and things like that. It says, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow thou shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life, man. So the point is, as a woman, if you don't obey your husband, you can be replaced, man, just like that. And also for us men, being in this truth, you can also be replaced, man. If you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing in this truth, Yahweh Bashim Yashai can just kill you or make you fall back into the world and make another fellow Israelite man get the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yashai and come and do this work for him. We are also replaceable, man. So don't think that you are safe. Okay, the book of Matthew 24 says, he that shall endure unto the end shall be saved. So we ain't saved yet, but you should be in the mindset that you are going to be saved. Okay, you have confidence in that, and you have confidence in Yahweh Bashim Yashai, because who else is doing this work for him? Who else are the prophets if it ain't us? So you believe that you are going to be saved, but you are not saved yet. There's a difference. We are replaceable. So you should be afraid of that you come short, of any works to be saved, man. You need to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, like the scripture says. Okay, we ain't saved yet, man. So we are also replaceable. So stay on this path of salvation, because Yahweh Bashim Yashai, like I said, can just take you out of the way and find somebody else that will do what he wants them to do. We ain't safe yet, man. We gotta make it until the end. So with that, Yahweh Ratasa, which means Lord willing, this was edifying. And with that, I want to give all praises and the highest honor to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Kodash. I want to give double honor to my elder apostles and teachers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the sincere Akyam across this world, who are spreading this knowledge in truth and sincerity. And shalom to the few sincere brothers and sisters out there who are also listening, and may the election be upon your households. Khan shalom.